Right, we move on to a trade customer who has sent a number of sets which have previously been 80 channeled and therefore rendered to be illegal. He, I understand, has removed the 80 channel modifications. We're going to start with this Harvard H407 base station, and some of these sets he's been unable to get to work. Now, you're never sure what they've done or what has been ruined by those modifications. They do culminate in a lot of sets getting the phase lock loop chip killed. I hope that hasn't happened in this case, because that's an expensive part, of course. I'll just whip these screws out. We're bound to have to take the screws out of the bottom as well. So I may as well take the screws out of the bottom right at this moment, because they are going to have to come out. It's kind of a tired looking base station, and it's been hand painted, but nevertheless it is a base station. They do work well, and of course it's worth spending time and money on. You also see the H404, which is the same chassis, but slightly later. So I can't see, just a very, very quick look underneath, I can't see anything silly there. I can see me being silly because I've missed that. Right. So he's done the power supply, he's done the resistor. Yep, that looks really satisfactory. We're going to run this on 12 volts. I say 12 volts off the bench power supply, and then I can monitor the current, which would be more difficult to do if we were running it off its internal power supply, which I will check later. But I've no reason to doubt that he's made any errors in that. I haven't got a power connector, it goes without saying, so we'll just shove the clips in. We've gained an off-center green LED for whatever reason. Well, it didn't power up doing it that way, so I'm going to go and get a proper power lead. We make these, so it means taking one we've made from stock and borrowing it. So that's my preliminary look. He's done the power supply, and there's nothing looking distressed or obvious on the main board. Try again. I never switched over from AC to DC on the switch on the back, so now we are lit up. It says channel 20. So better get our standard test mic plugged in. I can't actually hear any receive. I'll switch picture in picture, and then if we get transmit, you will see it. Oh yeah, we've got transmit. What's it doing? 27791113, absolutely fine. So we've got transmit. See whether we can hear it on my hand portable. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. We're on the wrong channel, of course. That's on 31. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. So we've got audio. One two one two. So we've got receive issues with this one. So what we're going to do, if I can rear it up without losing the power out of the back, I'll put the thing on. It is receiving, we can see it on the meter. I'll just put it on frequency, so at the moment we're not on frequency. I'll just put the frequency counter on so you can see me doing this. Just put the signal generator on frequency 2791 fine and coarse on this. It's interesting arrangement. There we go. So if I've now put the signal generator on, we're at full volume, squelch down, RF gain up. We can actually see the radio is kind of receiving. So it's not that it's not generating the frequencies. So I bet he's done the VCO. We will run through that, but he will have done the VCO. So we'll just plug the extension speaker on just to be absolutely sure. Yeah, I can hear the speaker click. So I've got this on full receive. If I transmit really close, 1 2 1 2, we can hear it just receiving. I think what we're going to do initially, because before I start a tune-up, I actually want to get this working. I'm going to do a tune-up using the S meter. May as well take picture in picture off because it's not doing anything for you. So I'm just going to go. I can't rear this up enough to show you what I'm doing. So that's peak. That's peak. So that's your front end ones. Oh, there's a third one. Is that front end? And then we've got the IFs. And then we've got the detector. We've actually got no FM hiss, have we? Go back to our hand portable, now done that. I'm going to kind of look at the detector whilst using this. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. One two 1 2. Yeah, I can't tell. Well, my first thought on this is the LA 1230 is faulty. So if I reach for the service manual, we'll have a look at some voltages. Right, so these are, we have to put a earth onto an earth point because the chassis is floating on these. So just check with the positive power, where we are 13.8. You can't see the meter because I've not got the meter in the right place. So I've run off a copy of the service manual. I can't spiral bind it because Mark's staying in the binder is in the room he stays in. So what we need to do is look at the voltages on the LA 1230, and they're given here. So without just changing it willy-nilly, we'll run through these voltages. So what have we got? Pin 1, 2.56 volts, 2.6 volts, and that's exactly what it should be. Pin 2, 2.6 correct. Pin 3, 2.6 correct. Pin 4 should be 0. Pin 5 should be 0. Pin 6 should be 5.8 volts. That's slightly low. Pin 7, 6, pin 6. I've already lost my plot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pin 7 should be 4.8 volts, about there. Pin 8 should be 5.2, that's about there. Pin 9 should be 5.35, not far off from that. Pin 10 should be 5.5. Pin 11 should be 12. That might be full rail voltage. Pin 12 should be 12.9. So 5.3. Pin, I'm going to go the other way. Should that be 0? Yep. 4.8. High. 0. 1.7, that's double. And 12 should be 5.6. So we've got a couple of anomalies. Pin 13, what does it do? Well, that's going to vary with, that goes to the bar graph. So let's look at that again. If I turn down the signal generator, that's dropped. So that's what should happen. Now we could have a duff filter. Just check this in PA to make sure we've not got an audio problem. It'd be silly if I was chasing the receiver when there's actually no audio. So it can be capacitors, but it's also very likely to be the audio IC. But when we look at the CBPA switch, that's been messed about with. So what happens if there's an error in the way that's been rewired? Well, all we can do is open up another set of our own and compare, because the fact it's not working on PA, I'll just do one more little test. And that's the good old finger test. Can I introduce any hum to the amplifier with my finger? The answer is yes. So the audio amp, you can tell, is working. So I reckon we've got a wiring anomaly, as it's been turned back from naughtiness to being a good radio again. So it's a lot of trouble, but I've got to go and find one in stock and look at the wiring. Right, so we've got a H404 here. And we've got to the left hand pole, we've got brown at the top and yellow lower down. Brown at the top and yellow lower down, and on the right hand pole we have got white, red, and red just to help matters not. We're going to have to determine what reds are going where. So the bottom red goes to the channel 9 switch. So the bottom red goes to channel 9 switch. And the two others, we've got one goes to this point here, so that's that red wire. Yep, and it does. And the other, it's a thinner one on this radio, goes to the point just there. Hang on, we've got the meter lamp going there. Well, that can't be right. It's got that lower one. Yeah, that does go there, but we seem to have got the meter lamp going there. And we have a look at the meter lamps. We should have so one end goes to that point, there's our detector, so that pin there, allow a set anyway, so yeah, the other meter lamp actually goes straight over there. But the soldering iron's not on. So what else has happened is the next question. We've definitely got that wire. Hang on a minute. We should have two wires. Shouldn't we have two wires to the centre one? Yes. We should have. No, we should have one wire to the centre one, and that one wire should be the other one. Yeah, it's two errors. I'll switch the power off. There's that one. Check once and for all. go up there. Oh, it does, it does. One, two, 1, 2. Okay, so on the other pole of the switch where our anomaly is, we've got a wire actually off, and the correct wire, it traces from this yellow wire here, goes to that tag there, so it goes to the, on this radio it goes to the centre of the left hand switch. So once again, I'll just turn that one off so we're not shorting things out. We've got that tag, and that goes to the bottom, and this wire that disappears to the left is on the centre tag, so they need swapping over. Okay, so we now have normal operation. So PA 1212 CB. Excellent. Right, we can start on a tune-up, and then we'll worry about where the lamp goes, but I think it will be where the other one is. I'm sure other than that it's going to be pretty spot on. Let's have a look at the clipboard. And that is our business model of having one of each UK legal set, so they can be unbutchered. Now remind myself it'll be interesting to see how well my tune-up with the meter is. It's going to be unfair to do before and afters on the receive, which so we won't, but we will with the transmit. I'm just going to set the VCO. So on these sets, I think it's channel 1, isn't it? Yeah, channel 1. Turn the volume down. It's the far side of capacitor 9. And we should have 2 volts in transmit, which we have. Sorry, in receive. I'm in receive, aren't I? Put the test set on transmit. Put picture and picture back. I'm on the wrong thing, but... And we have 2 volts on transmit. So that is absolutely as it should be. And then if we go on to channel 40, we should have 4 volts-ish. 3.6, transmit 3.59. So he's already done that. I expect he's done everything, it's just this receive anomaly. So while we've got that on, we'll do the frequency. So it's 99118. You know, we've got a satellite lock frequency standard here, but I could still end up with tiny anomalies from one instrument to another, and where we are with this is neither here nor there. Where did I put the pen? Probably put this 2779117. See whether it'll just go up a fraction. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. There we go. Deviation. Wally. 2.2 to 2.5 kilohertz. Going to verify that with the test set behind me. I was on the wrong camera there, but I will go over to the right camera for when I come back. So that test set agrees, so mine's not playing silly whatsits today. So we'll look at transmit power. So yeah, transmit power is 4 watts. On channel 1, 4 watts. On channel 40, 2.6 watts. Back to channel 1, and I've got to knock the power off. It's always going to be the problem when I'm doing it like this. Current consumption 1.27 amps, and on low power the radio is doing, and it's not adjustable, 220 milliwatts. Little bit gain there. I'm going and touching the VCO. That was silly of me, wasn't it? Back to channel 1. So that's receive VCO. Back to transmit. Yeah, let's reset it. Silly Billy mode. Right, so that is not transmit. Where was I? that was spot on. That was spot on. That's spot on. And that's spot on, right. Okay, so we've got 4 watts as we had, but it's in a slightly different place. So now we've got on channel 40 we've got 3.9 watts, and on channel 1 we've got 4.1 watt. So I'll do it that way around. And we'll go back to channel 20, check low power. I've just rebalanced it again. It's 3.954 and 3.95. So we'll just go and see, as we were going to do, what low power is. And low power is now 220 milliwatts. Exactly the same. Power consumption is now 1.26 or 263. It's come down a fraction. Okay, so that's 2.2 to 2.5, so that's correct. So what about the meter? That's spot on. Meter is spot on. That is okay, but we've got to sort it out again. Okay, so let's look at the receive. Now I'm going to have to start with the detector because, of course, I'm trying to find where the receive is on it, and of course the detector's in any old place. So with 100 microvolts on the signal generator, it helps if we plug the test instruments in. Right, so we want the maximum recovered audio. It's there, isn't it? Hello? Got a dry joint somewhere. Right, we'll zoom in on the dry joint for you. See, yet another reason why there's no receive. So we've got the wiring transposed. Turn it off a second, we'll solder that up. That's a wicked dry joint. Alright, maybe I have to do the retune now. Right, back to plugging in the instrument test speaker. And very good. A So yeah, I've had to fiddle with this. So it was 8.5. No, it's point. Oh, it's 0.23. So I don't think there's going to be any change. I did it with the meter, which isn't ideal, but we'll now do it with the SINAD meter. A bit gain there. Get a new reading. Yeah, it was about where it should be. It's point. I could say 0.215, but we'll put down 0.22. Really, really good. For 10, 0.2. For 20, 0.56. Now squelch is the letdown on these. Let's put the squelch to full. See whether we can. Is that S meter? Is that squelch? That's S meter. I'll come back to that. So that now works where we want it to be, which is 100 microvolts. And at the sensitive end, .2. No, 0.62. So S meter back to 100 microvolts. Try and tilt it up. There we go. So I just need to put this to there as far as I can see. Yeah, that brings the meter lamp back. We'll get some wiring into there and I'll come back to you after then. We'll check the power supply out and we'll be able to do it on the air test later on. Okay, so now we'll turn our attention. I've done the lamp and now turn our attention to, I'll just make sure that works. It does. I don't know why this is a bit skew within the window. Anyway, what we're going to do, we're just going to plug it into the mains. I'll just look at this. I've straightened that up. Right, we're on mains then now. Switch that over to mains. Let's just check what the power supply is doing. So remember, we've set this up at 13.8. I expect he's done all this. So let's see what we've got. 13.87, right. Switch that off. Quick check on transmit. Put that meter back on. Fine. Good. We're where we are. We're all done. So, of course, I've got the fun to put ours back together as well as the customers. So I'll tell you what, we'll put the aerial on it. He changes, like I do, he changes these from the ballast resistor from a 3-watt one to a 7-watt one. Because how can you expect the radio to do 4 watts? It's on a 3-watt resistor. So that's the logic. Right, we've got it on the aerial. We can disconnect it from external power. Switch the power supply off. One and a Roger. Right, well, I'll leave it on while I start putting it back together. You never know, it might talk to us. It's about 6:30 at the moment, so another half hour we'll do a scratchy corner test. As you can see, he's put a lot of time and effort into it, and without having another set to hand, and without there being any circuit diagrams specifically for this model, it is difficult to try and work out what should go where. Oops, that's ours. I nearly gave him our lid. Got it looks like a smiley face in there. So we sent 2 boxes, and I think there's about 4 or 5 sets in one box, and then there's just this one in the other box. So I'll be able to get this one back to him. He's probably got this. This is probably one of his customers' sets. Whereas at the pace we do radios, never more than 1 a day. Boxes full of radios take a lot of doing. So we're still on that DNT base station, just waiting for a part from China. Oops. There we go, folks. So H407 back in the land of the living. Thanks for watching.